Radio in
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Life and Sport podcast, and sort of tangenting into a Mariners, you could say, theme lately because we've got quite a few Mariners guests, current and former, coming up over the next few weeks. And our current guest for this episode is a former Mariner. He is now currently at Sydney Olympic. His name is Jakob Cresnar. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, we were just saying how your day has been, but obviously for the record, how's your day been so far?
Yeah, it's been a good day so far. Just went out for lunch, which was nice.
No training today?
I don't know. Nah, we no training today. We trained last night, and then we have a game on Wednesday or
Yeah.
tomorrow night against Marconi Stallions at the Palace. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And how are you prepping for that game? Are you ready to go?
Well, yeah. So we've had a pretty quick turnaround. We obviously had Apia
Mm-hmm.
on Sunday night in the Festival of Football.
Yep.
That was at 6 o'clock kickoff, and it was a great event, decent crowd, and yeah, it's been a pretty quick turnaround. So we
Yeah,
beat
wow.
Blacktown City, Blacktown City in the last round of the cup, and then now somehow we've drawn Marconi, um, in the next round, which is like I said, tomorrow night at 7:30 kickoff at the
Well,
Palace.
well, absolutely. Good luck for that game. I wish you
Yeah,
all the
thank you.
best. So obviously, let's talk about your career so far. Your junior football with
Yeah,
Dudley Redhead United. What was that like?
yeah. Yeah, so I started off my juniors with Dudley Redhead when I was probably 5 years old, I think.
Yep.
Started and played. I think I was till until I was about 10 years old with
Yep.
them, and I was a part of like what was called the Macquarie SAP program back then as well. And
Okay.
then I was in that program from around under 11s to under 13s, I believe, and that's
Okay.
when I joined something like that, and then I joined the Jets Academy.
Oh,
I think
the
maybe
Jets
under
Academy. Okay.
12s. Yeah,
Was that because the Jets were in proximity, like closer to you distance wise, or were there other clubs that were also interested in you for their academy?
yeah. So, well, back then I think the Jets Academy only was just starting up, and it
Okay.
was one of the first academies in the A League that was
Yep.
one of the first clubs that actually started up an academy in the
So like
A
the
League. And
Mariners Academy wasn't an option at the time, sort of thing.
At the time, I don't believe it was. It was like
Okay.
Central Coast Football at the time or something
Oh,
like that.
okay. Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah. So it was a bit different. And then so I started with them. I think it was around under 11s or under 12. So and that's when it first started up, and there was obviously trials and all that sort of stuff. And we had before that was just like it was like the Northern New South Wales
Yep.
rep sort of teams and that sort of stuff. And then we had the Jets, and then I got picked in the Jets for the under 11s or 12s. I honestly can't remember
You know,
can't
that's
remember
fair.
what age group it was. It was a few years ago now, but I started with them, and then was with them until under 14s,
Mm-hmm. And
and
then where'd you
then
move to?
from there I was moved to the Mariners Academy,
Okay. Yep.
and was with the Mariners Academy from under 15s to under 18s,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was in year 12 at school, so I sort of had a bit of a challenge there where the travel became a bit of an issue
Yeah.
because
Trying to do your year
um
12 studies
yeah
as well.
yeah exactly right. So I was doing year 12, and then I would have had to travel for 3 times a week to training on the Central Coast,
And
plus
travel back as
yeah
well.
so back and forth from the coast, weekdays after school, and then also to
Game days.
Sydney, to Sydney and the coast on the weekends for games as well. So that sort of became a bit of a speed bump in
Yep.
my career where I need to make a decision in terms of whether or not I wanted to stay at the academy or move back to Newcastle for a year or so and play at the highest level there and complete my year 12 studies for
Yep.
sort of
And
the
which
benefit
option
of my
did you
future.
choose for anyone who may not know?
Yeah, so after my last year at the Mariners was the 18s, and
Yep.
I finished up there and went back and moved to Newcastle,
Yep.
um, where I played at Newcastle Olympic, for 2 seasons
Yep.
and which was my year 12 year at school. So I was
And did that
18.
obviously that would have made it so much more easier for you on the travel stress. The only sort of big travel you would
Yeah.
have had would have been for away games sort of thing instead of training as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I played for Newcastle Olympic, it was only 15 minutes to training and then some
Compared to an hour and a half
yeah,
ish. Yeah.
yeah. So training on the coast, it wasn't too bad, but it was around an hour travel to training there and back.
And
Um
that's after you've been smashed in training, so tired and just want to get home. So
yeah,
no,
yeah,
I totally
exactly
get
right.
that.
Yeah. So I was obviously studying all day at school and completing my year 12 studies, and then pretty much as soon as I got home, so I would have had to leave straight away for training and then coming back. And yeah, whereas when I was in Newcastle, I had a few hours in the afternoon until say 5 o'clock, and then I'd travel to training, which would only be about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah,
No, that's much more convenient and much like it would have also been a much better or less of a stress or strain on you mentally and physically in general. So definitely don't blame you for doing that. At what
yeah,
point did you
exactly.
realize, I'm pretty good at this? I'm going to give it a crack, making like going as far as you can so far.
Yeah, after, like I said, I was at Olympic for 2 years,
Yep.
and then I sort of made the decision. I was like, I think I'm really enjoying this, and I wanted to take it further. And my next step for me was I think I need to move and play in the Sydney League because
Yeah.
I found like obviously the Newcastle League's a great league and that sort of stuff. But I found the next challenge, the real next challenge for me was to move to Sydney. Obviously, there's a lot more exposure there.
Yep.
The competition's probably a little bit bigger and
Yep.
a little bit,
A little bit more like a
yeah,
step up from
yeah,
the
e-
northern NPL
yeah,
sort of thing. Yep.
exactly right. Yeah, it's a bit of a step up, and from there I actually had a trial at Manly.
Okay. And mainly United.
And Manly United, and I wasn't successful there. I was with them for about 3 weeks
Mm-hmm.
pre-season. This was after my little stint, 2 year stint at Olympic,
Yep.
and then after that I went had the trial at Manly, and then actually got offered a position at Bonnyrigg
Oh
White
wow.
Eagles.
Yep.
Yeah, so I I went there, and then
How'd that go
from
for you?
there, that was a great learning. I'd say it's a great learning curve for me
Yep.
with Bonnyrigg. It was obviously a fair step up from the Newcastle, well, from Olympic, and
Yep.
the travel was obviously difficult, but I had the flexibility there because I was at university
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yep.
that. Whereas
Whereas school,
when I
you were there
yeah
from
yeah
like 8:30 till 2. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
shit fight. I
It's
absolutely
different.
absolutely
Yeah,
get
yeah.
that.
So I had a lot more flexibility when I was with
And what was the culture likewise, as in the differences at Bonnie Rig, re the the team culture, the this that the other compared to Newcastle Olympic.
I'd say the cultures are always there's always great cultures at those sort of clubs. Like obviously Newcastle Olympics a great club. They got
Yep.
a great culture behind them that the committee obviously support them really well, and it's the same at Bonnyrigg really. I found there was a lot of similarities between the two clubs in terms of obviously the Bonnyrigg have the Serbian culture,
Yep.
and Newcastle Olympic have the Greek
But they're very
culture. And
instilled in those sort of ethics and that sort of proud history sort of thing.
yeah, exactly right. Like Bonnyrigg, don't get me wrong, Bonnyrig's a huge club in Sydney, and they've got some a great heritage, and obviously a future as well.
That's fair. And obviously from Bonnie Rig, is that where you were last at before signing with Sydney Olympic, or was there another club in between that?
So from there, that this was all during the COVID period.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if you remember, but
The
the
season,
season got cancelled in
every
Sydney.
sport, yep,
Yeah,
not just
yeah,
every sport got absolutely canned.
yeah. So in Sydney, the season was cancelled. I think it was around 11 or 12. So it was, yeah,
So you'd
around
had
that
a
sort
fair
of
bit of
time.
football in you at that point for that season.
Yeah, so I played. So I think it was a 24 round comp, and it got cancelled. It was around, yeah,
Around round 11.
yeah,
Yep.
11 or 12. So
Yeah. So it was a
um
majority of the half, basically half of the season had been done by that point.
yeah, yeah. So we were about halfway through the season, and then it was cancelled. And then, but luckily, like fortunately for me, I had the opportunity to go play back in Newcastle because the season there hadn't actually
Ended
been
yet.
cancelled. Yeah,
That's good.
so I actually got back and went to a club called Edgeworth Eagles in
Yeah. Yep.
Newcastle, and I played I think 9 rounds there, which brought us pretty much to the last round of the season, and then unfortunately got cancelled there as
Oh,
well. So
but you almost got a full season of football basically done
yeah,
minus finals, which is good.
yeah. So I pretty much got a full season of football, and the Sydney comp was cancelled for a fair bit, and everyone in Newcastle was sort of a bit worried about the coronavirus and that sort of stuff. But we kept sort of kicking along until we could, and then
Yeah.
once we started getting cases in Newcastle, it
Yeah,
sort of
because
all
I'm based
ended
on the Central
after that.
Coast, so it also took a fair
Yeah,
while for it to, really hit the
yeah,
Central Coast. It was like that first
yeah,
wave
yeah,
in 2020 didn't hit anyone,
yeah,
maybe one
yeah,
or two people.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that second one, the Delta,
yeah,
whatever it was called, that got
yeah,
every
yeah,
everyone. So
yeah.
I totally
Exactly
get that.
right. Yeah,
And
yeah,
so, from what point after, as obviously during COVID or post COVID times, really, did you go
yeah,
from obviously you went from Bonnyrigg back to Newcastle and
yeah.
then to Sydney Olympic?
So actually, from there, I went. Um, my coach at Edgeworth Eagles, I'm not sure if you know, his name's Michael Bridges.
I definitely know the name. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So Bridgie helped me tremendously to go well, getting the opportunity to try with the Mariners. So once COVID all settled down and that sort of stuff, and we're allowed to
Go
do
to
a
training
bit
at
of
least.
train, yeah, do a bit of training and that sort of stuff. I got the opportunity. Bridgie was pretty close with the first team coach now at Mariners, Nick Montgomery, and
Yep. He's a
he
very
was
nice
in,
bloke, Nick.
yeah, yeah, lovely bloke, and he was in contact with, yeah, Bridgie, and they were obviously talking, and I got the opportunity to go trial with the Mariners youth team,
Yep.
and I think it was about a month trial with them, and fortunate enough for me, I got an opportunity, or I signed for the Mariners youth, and that's where I played pretty much, yeah, the whole season last season with them.
Of the
Um,
NPL team.
yeah, so
Yep.
with the MPL, I was with them, yeah, from say October, would have been 2021.
2021. Yep. And then
Yep,
into
yeah,
2022. Yep.
yeah. So I started with them in October, and then yeah, played the whole MPL season with them. We were fortunate enough to win the league, and
Wow. Congratulations on
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't win the grand final, but yeah, we
Still won
we
the
won.
league though.
Yeah, fortunate enough to win the league, and yeah, we had a great season and with them, and from there, I it was about halfway through the year, so it was around
As in this year,
um
or do you mean
last
like
year,
this?
sorry,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, it was around July. A-League preseason started, and that's where Monty and Serge brought in um a fair few boys from the youth team just to train up with the A-League, and
Yep. Get them
and
ready,
then
sort of thing.
yeah, so he'll sort of have a bit of an extended squad, and obviously there's new signings and that will come in, and that's where he sort of kicks off the preseason for A-League, and from there I think I was with the A-League for about a month and a half, 2 months,
Yep.
and I got off for the scholarship, and then
Was
and
that
then
with
yeah.
Sydney Olympic or was that with the
So
Mariners?
sorry, that was with the Mariners. So
Yep.
at that time I was still playing with the youth team. It was
Yep.
around, I think it was around round 20, round 22. It was getting towards the end of the season. Yeah, but, we were sitting pretty well on the top of the league, and
Well,
and stuff.
just to quick note, as I'm sure you know, the team
Yeah.
has gone the opposite way this current season,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
There's
Well,
still plenty of weeks left, still plenty of rounds
yeah,
left, but
exactly right. Yeah.
definitely not the start that we'd have hoped for. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, exactly right. We played them at the stadium only 2 weeks ago, and
I
it was
was
a
at that game, yeah.
you were at that game. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a two
It was
all
a good
draw. It was a
game.
good. Yeah, it was a great game, and it was obviously after the A League game against
It was,
Melbourne City, and I was there to watch that as well, which is another
as was I.
great
It was a
great
great game to
contest.
watch
And
as
yeah,
well.
oh yeah,
I'm just glad the Mariners didn't
fantastic.
give.
Yeah,
Granted, City ended up getting the minor premiership. I'm just glad we didn't give it to
yeah,
them at our home stadium.
yeah, yeah. That's right. Well, obviously City are a really strong side in
Oh,
the A League,
absolutely.
and
And
yeah, and it was
three premierships or minor premierships, whatever you want to call them, in a row is
yeah,
no laughing matter. It's a massive feat to them. And yes, I was actually going to bring up the game 2 weeks ago against, obviously your former club, the Mariners
yeah,
MPL.
yeah, yeah.
How did you go, and how do you think the game went for you individually?
I think yeah, obviously it was a challenge for me because it was I was against all my sort of ex opponents, or
Teammates.
ex teammates, sorry, yeah,
It's all good.
yeah, like obviously I knew all the boys in the team,
Did
they
they
sort
make
of
sure you like they made it a bit of a tough game, but all love at the end,
yeah,
of course?
yeah, exactly right. Like it's always like that in football
Yeah.
when you're playing against a sort of ex team. It's always a challenge, and they always know
They
who
always
you
make sure
are
you're
and
up
give
for
you.
it.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah,
Nah,
but
very
yeah,
nice. Yeah, continue.
I thought my performance. I thought I played well against
I
them.
I think you did.
Yeah, thank you. I obviously got an assist to make it 2-2 in the end, which was nice. And yeah, but it was great. It was a great experience for me to play at the stadium as well. Just made it feel a little bit more like home
Yeah.
and that sort of stuff. And yeah, so
No, nice.
that's right. Yeah,
So some quick fire sort of questions, not
yeah.
anything to do with football in the slightest, just some fun ones. First of all, Apple or Android?
Apple.
Oh, 100%. Like you
Yeah,
can't not be.
yeah,
How do you like
exactly.
your steak?
Definitely medium rare.
Yeah, nice. Medium rare is definitely the best way to have it. What's your favorite movie
100%.
of all time?
Ooh, favorite movie. I'd have to say, uh, I think Wolf of Wall Street's my favorite.
That's a great film.
Yeah.
What sort of music do you listen to pre-game? Like, what pump up music do you like?
Um. Oh, well, in the sheds, we sort of have a different DJ every week, but
Yep.
I think just
Okay,
a
well
bit
then, who
of
has the worst music taste in the sheds then?
worst music tape. I'm gonna have to call him out, but Matty Butner.
Yep, yep. Matty
I'm
Butner.
sure.
I know his dad, Michael.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Matty
absolutely.
Butner.
Yeah. Okay. What music does he play? Is it all country stuff, or is it like real
Uh,
techno stuff?
well, me and Maddie carpool to training because he's from Newcastle as well,
Yep.
and another boy Jack Simmons, and yeah, I'd say in the car, yeah, well in the
You don't
car
give
we
him the aux
yeah
cord.
yeah we do, but we don't. Depends. It
Yeah.
depends.
Yeah. No, that's
But
fair
yeah,
enough.
nah, it's
What's your go-to canteen snack at your local football game?
definitely Chibapi roll.
Yeah, nice. And obviously we just spoke about the teammate who has the worst music taste, but who is the funniest teammate?
Funniest teammate. Um, I'll definitely have to say Roy.
Yeah,
Yeah, Roy's banner is just yeah, brilliant.
it's
I love
next
his
level.
banner.
That's
Yeah,
amazing. And these next two questions are somewhat obviously they're not related to your career, but they're just in general some get to know you sort of questions for the listeners and the fans.
yeah,
First question is: did you have a Premier League team growing up? Of like English Premier League, I mean.
yeah. I'm a massive Arsenal supporter.
Oh, well, you'll definitely be happy so far with their season.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's obviously been a great season so far, and then the last three games have been a bit shaky.
They've been a bit
Yeah,
hit and miss,
hit and
but they're
miss.
still
Yeah, but
up top.
we got City on Thursday morning, so it's pretty much the biggest game of the season. I
Yeah.
think there whoever wins that game wins the league really,
Oh, absolutely agreed.
and
Well,
yeah,
I'm a
I'll
Leeds
definitely be
United
up for
fan,
that one.
so we've not
Yeah,
done too
okay,
well this season, but
yeah,
definitely,
yeah,
yeah. I'm just glad that we've managed to stay up so far. So
Yeah, well,
that's all I'm happy with. And
that's the main
obviously
thing.
Arsenal. Who is or
Yeah.
was your football idol growing up?
Football idol.
Mm,
So definitely Thierry Henry.
yeah.
Yeah, I love watching him and the way he played and sort of the way he presented himself on the football pitch and obviously a different position to where I play, but I
Yep.
just liked his sort of character
Yeah, like
and how he
and the
played
type of
and his
player and person that he was and is
yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah, exactly right. He's yeah.
Yeah, vibes. And I've got two more questions for you. First of all, actually three technically. Um, First one is your biggest inspiration, like who or what has been your, your rock or your solidarity, inspiration to, keep going and keep you motivated.
Well, yeah, that'd have to definitely be my father,
Yep.
my dad. He's stuck by me pretty much my whole career and pushed me through and made sure I was always did the extra sessions and put in the work and yeah, I think he's probably been one of the biggest influences on my career and where I've sort of made it to where I am today.
Yeah, nice. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, that's really awesome. And my second to last question is obviously Sydney Olympic FC. You're currently at that club now. You're full time
Yeah.
with them. How's
Yeah.
that going for you so far?
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, like I said, I was on a scholarship with the Mariners, and what happened there was I picked up a bit of an injury in November
Yep.
last year, which is sort of yeah, it was very unfortunate for me. Pretty yeah, it's tough with the sort of timing of it all and that sort of stuff, and and yeah, so unfortunately I got let go with by the Mariners, and they gave me they sort of wanted me to experience a bit of bit more first team football
Yep.
and they wanted me to yeah play as much as possible, which is fair enough and
Yeah.
understandable and yeah, so I got let go, and I think I was in talks with Sydney Olympic after that. Then I've arrived there, and it's been great so far. They've been very welcoming, and I'd say probably the biggest thing um, I've noticed there is the way the way it's sort of set up is very similar to the A League setup, and
Okay. I
yeah,
find it
it's
very interesting because obviously the you guys share a building with the NRL team, the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs for training and
yeah,
whatnot. Is there
yeah,
like a conflict of schedules and stuff, or is there like you guys have a totally separate side or section of
yeah,
the building?
yeah. So our home ground, yeah, like you said, at Belmore Sports Ground. That we don't actually train at
Oh,
Belmore
okay,
Sports Ground. Yeah,
okay.
so
So
our
that's
training
just your
sessions
home
are held at
stadium sort of thing.
yeah. So we just play our home games there, and we'll have an odd training session or whatever,
Gotcha.
and like yeah, event there. And
That's good then.
but yeah. So all of our training sessions are at Valentine Sports Park.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so of an afternoon, and then yeah, our home games are at Belmore.
Yeah, nice. Because yeah, when I found out that
Yeah,
that your games are at Belmore, I thought, oh, maybe because they've got offices in there. I know because I was there a few weeks ago to
yeah,
interview a Bulldogs
yeah,
player. I thought, oh, maybe you
yeah,
guys have a separate office section, but no, that makes it a lot easier to understand that. Oh, you don't have a
yeah, yeah,
clash, which is really good to hear.
yeah,
So no, that's good to
yeah.
hear.
Exactly right.
Two
Yeah,
final questions.
yeah,
So my PE teacher from high
yeah,
school back in the day, he's now no longer a PE teacher. He's the
yeah.
S&C at the Mariners, Bryce Johnson. What's he
Bryce.
like? What's he like
Yeah,
as an S&C coach? Because I only know what he's like as a PE teacher. First of all,
yeah,
shout out to you, Bryce.
yeah, yeah. Brycey, yeah, me and Brycey got along really well at the Mariners. I think we had a great relationship, and yeah, he was a brilliant S&C. He was always on to me, made sure I was doing the right things, and I think one thing Brycey really helped me with was through my injury, and I
Yep.
think he always made sure that made sure I was doing the right things and wasn't pushing myself too hard and that sort of stuff,
But
managing
also
it
making
right.
sure that you're
And
not relaxing yourself too much either.
yeah, exactly right, exactly right. He was always yeah, he always made sure that I was managing it right. And one thing I'd say with Bryce, he always put forward the younger boys and tried to give us an opportunity and made sure, yeah, we
That's
were in
awesome to hear.
line. And yeah, he probably, honestly, honest opinion from me would be he's probably the best S&C I've had,
Oh wow.
yeah, throughout my career so far.
That's a big testament to, well, I know him
Yeah,
as
it is.
Jono because that's what we called him at school.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
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 absolutely top bloke. At
yeah,
school
yeah,
he was a great teacher.
yeah,
So I can only imagine he's definitely got somewhat of that same vibe wherever he's been at other clubs, because he's been everywhere. He's been at the Roosters, he's been at Hull KR, he's been at the Jets, he's
yeah,
been at the
yeah,
Mariners 2 stints. So I can imagine he's got a world of knowledge now. So that's great to hear that he's a really good S&C. My
yeah,
final question
yeah,
is,
yeah.
what's next for Jakob Cresnar?
Well, so probably the biggest step for me is getting back to where I was, say 4 or 5 months ago in the A League setup.
Pre-injury
And
sort of thing?
yeah, yeah, exactly right. I was yeah, so I had what's called osteitis pubis, and I was out with
Ooh,
that for, yeah,
that's no good.
yeah. So I was out with that for around 3.5 months. And um yeah, but I'm
Is it
back
all cleared up
now.
now?
Yeah, yeah, I'm
That's
back
good.
now, fully fit. I've played, I think, 8 or 9 games now, for like full games for Olympic. and
That's good.
and yeah, I'm ready more than ever to make the step back to where I was
And
in
really
the
push
A
for an
League
A League
setup.
sort of spot.
Yeah, exactly right, exactly right.
That's awesome to hear.
And that yeah, and that's the biggest challenge for me now in the future. And obviously I want to be back playing in the A League, or and that sort of stuff. And unfortunately I didn't get to make my debut with the Mariners, but
Well,
that
you
would
never
be
know,
the
that may still happen at some
oh,
point.
that would be, yeah, that would be unreal. And
That'd be a full circle moment. That would be.
that would be, yeah, very very much so,
Oh,
yeah,
well, fingers crossed. Whether or
yeah,
not you make it in the Mariners' first team or another A League club's first team, definitely wish you the best
yeah,
of luck. Pardon
yeah.
me.
Thank you very much.
For your journey, and for the next
Yeah,
stage of your journey, I'll definitely love to get you on maybe in a year or two's time, and we can
yeah,
track your
yeah,
progress and see how you've been going since, like, from this point to where you are at that point. So thank you
yeah,
very
yeah,
much for
for
joining
sure.
me.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you very
problem
much
at
for
all.
your time.
No problem at all. Thank you very
No,
much for having me. It was great.
no, it was a pleasure's all mine, mate. You have a good rest of your day.